Let me get it recorded. Okay, so hello everybody. I will try to hold my computer still so it's not bouncing all over my lap. So I'm really glad that you guys could join us. I know this was kind of a surprise little info session, so you guys are great at last minute doing this. This is going to be very informal, so if you have questions, please just let me know. I am not a fan of talking in front of these things, as many of you know. So if I am a hot mess, that is why. So I just want to let you guys know that ahead of time. And hold on, it looks like we had one more person join that may not be muted. Yeah, Talia, you're not muted, so hang on just a second. Okay, so everybody is muted now. Okay, so I first want to let you know at the bottom of the screen, there is a chat button. So if you have a question for me that you want to make sure that I cover, you can just, find my name on there and send me a message and I will try to cover it and hopefully I will have the answer. But I wanted to first introduce myself. My name is Kendall Boyd, and I am a Senior Ruby Ambassador with Plexus. I'm also a mom of 4 kiddos. They're pretty crazy. We homeschool as well, so as you can imagine, it's even crazier. So I have been with Plexus now for about 2.5 years, and I just kind of want to start with a little background on how I got started with this. I'm a really skeptical person, and when my cousin started telling me about Plexus, I honestly wanted nothing to do with it. I thought that it was another one of those weight loss gimmicks because she started sharing the testimonies, and of course we see all these incredible weight loss testimonies that people have, and so I just kind of lumped it in there with all that stuff, and I just wasn't interested. But I've had stomach issues my entire life. I have had IBS to the extreme, but about 3.5 years ago, it got really, really bad. And I don't know if you've ever had chronic pain or had stomach issues, but it literally controlled my life. I would get up in the morning, my stomach would start hurting, and I would spend my day sitting on a heating pad in my rocking chair, and that's where I would school my kids from. I was hospitalized 3 different times, and I at one point was seeing 6 different doctors, 2 of which were GI doctors, and I had colonoscopies and upper endoscopies and scans and ultrasounds, like everything that you could think of to be done. At one point, I literally laid on a table for an hour while they took an x-ray every 5 minutes to track my entire urinary tract system to see if stuff was going on. And when you're in chronic pain all the time, I would cry myself to sleep at night thinking, and at the time I was, I was about to be 28. And I was thinking, like, this is what the rest of my life is going to look like. And this lasted for about a year. This whole time my cousin had been doing Plexus, but I hadn't really given her the time of day with it. And over this course of the year, they found a lot of things wrong with me. I had stuff wrong with my kidneys. I had cysts on my ovaries. I had a hernia. I had an inflamed stomach lining, and I had an intestinal infection. So I had a lot going on in my body, and they would treat one thing, when they find my kidney stones, I'm like, woohoo, kidney stones. And nobody, a normal person does not cheer about that. But I did, because I thought, great, we now have something to treat and I'm not going to be in pain anymore. But this was kind of the wake up call for me. These kidney stones, they found 11 months into this journey of horrible pain. And when they gave me medication to flush my kidneys, I actually had that medication start attacking my nervous system, and it started making me lose my nearsighted vision. And so this was really the eye opener to me, just for, side effects are real, and medications, although I'm not anti-medicine, I do believe that medication is important, but I don't know. I think this was just the first time that it really opened my eyes that maybe there's something else out there. Now, 11 months in, I had been on about 30 medications. At this point, I didn't even read the name, of the medicine they were giving me. If there was a chance it was going to get me out of pain, I was going to take it. But when I had that side effect, I was just done. So I had seen my cousin sharing about Plexus, and I had seen a testimony that she shared, and it was about IBS. which is, what I struggled with most of my life. And so I finally messaged her and I told her, I was like, I don't care what it costs. Just tell me what I need to take. I am desperate and I'm willing to give this a shot. And so I did. I ordered the triplex, which I will be talking about in a little bit. And it's been 2.5 years now. And it's just been a game changer for me. All the chronic stomach issues that I had, I haven't dealt with since I started it. I have gone off of 3 prescription allergy medications that I had been on for 7 years prior to that. It was, cedar fever gets me like everybody else around here in Texas. And I would get chronic sinus infections. I would be laid out with migraines. I would have to get steroid injections, all those things that come along with allergies. And I have now been off of all of that for 2 years and made it through two cedar seasons. I've lost weight. My sweet, sweet husband tells me Psycho Mommy is gone. So, that's always fun. I didn't realize Psycho Mommy was here in the first place, but apparently she was. But it's just been a crazy change for us since starting this and since kind of putting my skepticism aside and giving it a shot. And so, although I hate talking in front of people, I do this because I am passionate about helping people feel better. And I love knowing the science behind things. And like when I joined this, one of my favorite things to do was starting to research these products and learn, why are they helping me? Why are they, doing for me what medication couldn't do? And I don't know, it just kind of became my passion. And so that's why I'm doing this. So if I'm a little frazzled, that's why, guys. Okay. I'm not a fan of these, but I hope that you can get something from this. So I want to talk a little bit about what I've kind of learned over the last few years about, the importance of gut health and of, treating these root issues that go on in our body that lead to other issues. And I don't know if you guys have ever looked into the effects that yeast has on your body and the way that it affects your gut. But it's really, really crazy what it does. So I'm going to kind of give you the nutshell explanation and hopefully it's not too crazy. So we're all born with yeast in our gut. Okay. We have good bacteria and we have yeast. And the yeast is there because when you die, you need something to decompose your body. And that's what yeast does. It eats dead matter. And so, this yeast, it's a good thing. But as we, are growing up, we're exposed to antibiotics. When we get our first ear infection, we go on antibiotics, processed foods, toxins that are in the air, any form of medication. And what all that stuff does is it kills off the good bacteria in your gut. And that is now lunchtime for that yeast because it eats dead matter. So you now have dead bacteria in your gut. This yeast, it's snack time for it. And so that yeast starts growing and you end up having way more yeast in your gut than you were intended to have. Okay. And this yeast causes so many issues. So first of all, it's a burrowing organism. And so what that means is it can start burrowing into the lining of your intestines. And if you want to look more into this, just go Google leaky gut or intestinal permeability. Any of that, you'll find all kinds of medical articles that talk about that. But so the problem with this, and I'm going to try not to get too sciencey on you guys, is when you have this organism burrowing into the lining of your intestines, there is something behind your small intestine called your GALT. And this stands for gut-associated lymphatic tissue, okay? Your lymph system is your immune system. And in this GALT is where 80% of immature lymphatic cells or immune cells are developing. Okay, so this is why if somebody tells you 80% of your immune system comes from your gut, this is what they're talking about, okay? Now, because this is behind your small intestine, when you have that yeast that's overgrowing and it's now burrowing little holes in your intestines, this goes through that area. And this, it allows, your gut is supposed to be the steel trap of your body. And this yeast turns it into a screen door. Okay. So all those things like toxins and undigested food particles and the yeast, all that stuff, that's supposed to stay in your gut is now able to go through that into your body. And this creates an immune response in your body. And it basically makes your immune system rear up and want to attack. And so if it attacks and shows up in the form of a rash, well, you're going to have eczema, or you're going to have psoriasis or cystic acne. If it attacks and settles in your lungs, you're going to have asthma. My son dealt with that. He had chronic ear infections, went on tons of antibiotics. And then sure enough, soon after that, he developed asthma. And I thought it was hereditary. I didn't realize that the asthma is autoimmune, but it is. And he was predispositioned to have it. So when his gut was compromised, all of a sudden it got activated and he now has asthma. And there's all kinds of things like, if your immune system rears up and attacks and settles in your gut, you're going to have IBS and Crohn's and ulcerative colitis and all these crazy things that we think are in and of themselves the problem. So what do? If you have an immune issue going on, you are given a steroid because steroids turn off your immune system. But steroids also destroy the good bacteria in your gut. So it compounds the problem, okay? And so this yeast is a huge issue. And a big part of what I love about these products is being able to understand that they really work on root issues, okay? And I'm going to go more into that in a second. But these products, they're not a miracle drug, okay? Plexus doesn't cure anything. It doesn't. I know with all the testimonies people share, it looks like that. The stomach stuff I had, I took Plexus and I feel better, but it's not that Plexus cured me. It's that Plexus works on root issues in our body that cause all these other issues, okay? So when you bring your body back into balance and you work on those root issues, it just makes sense that all these other things are going to start improving. So I want to talk a little bit about a couple of our products. We've got a lot that are fantastic, but there's a few that I really wanted to talk about tonight because I want you to understand more how they address these root issues. So our products are not just about weight loss like a lot of people think, okay? So they're about addressing those root issues in your body, and the main ones are blood sugar imbalance. That greatly affects your body, your hormones, inflammation, gut health, and metabolism. Okay, so those are the big things that can be going on in your body that cause all kinds of crazy stuff that people don't even know about. So when I first started reading through like all the testimonies, when I started with this, I didn't realize that it helped people with so many things. I just knew it had, helped people with stomach issues. So I thought I'd give it a shot for that. But I started reading through all the testimonies because I was trying to learn, what is it that this has helped people with? Like, what does it do? And the main things that kept jumping out to me were thyroid disorders and PCOS and fertility issues were big things that jumped out to me because I had a lot of friends that dealt with those specific things. I personally didn't deal with them, but I had a lot of friends that did. So like when you take PCOS, for example, that's a mixture of insulin resistance, so blood sugar, hormonal issues, gut health, and it's an inflammatory disorder. So when you've got all these root issues going on, so people who have PCOS, a lot of them are on metformin, which is a diabetic medication. And, you have all these things going on and they give you medications for this. And those medications, although, yes, they're necessary. Like I said, medicine's not evil. It's necessary. But they make the root issue that's going on in your body worse. So I have multiple friends that I shared this with that struggled with those things, like thyroid issues. They were on tons of medicine and felt horrible and were putting on weight like crazy. I have multiple friends who have now, I can think of, 3 or 4 off the top of my head, who have now been able to have a baby because their body was balanced out enough internally to where they didn't struggle with those issues that were preventing them from having a baby. And please don't take this to say that like Plexus cures fertility. I am not saying that by any means. But there are so many root issues in our body that contribute to stuff like that. And addressing those root issues and getting your body balanced in those areas, that's just really going to help improve your chances for that stuff. So that was what really stood out to me in the beginning and why I started sharing. The first product I want to talk about, which I meant to bring it so you can actually see it, and I forgot, but you can, of course, go to the website, but the Slim. So that's our pink drink. I hate that they call it Slim because that's not what it's about, okay? So let me just say that right off the bat. But the Slim is the main thing. It has multiple ingredients in it that are, they're just really great at helping your body maintain healthy blood sugar. Blood sugar, imbalanced blood sugar is a huge, huge stress on our body. It's a huge stress on our hormones. And most people think that the only people who have blood sugar issues are those who are diabetics. And that is so not the case. Okay. If you drink a glass of orange juice in the morning, which has like 30 teaspoons of sugar in it, you're going to have imbalanced blood sugar. Okay. So it's a huge stress on our body. We all have that. So it's really important to regulate that blood sugar. If you have thyroid issues or if you have hormonal issues, blood sugar affects that as well. Okay. So there's multiple ingredients in the Slim that help to regulate that blood sugar and keep it at healthy levels. Another thing that it really helps to maintain is healthy blood pressure, healthy cholesterol, and healthy triglyceride levels. So when I started with this, we, of course, put my husband on it because I make him do what I do. But he was just predisposed to have bad blood, basically. We had his blood work done because his father had passed away from a heart condition. And he, like everything basically on his blood work, was borderline or high risk. And so he was on lots of medication. And whenever we started this, I knew it said it could help with a lot of stuff. So I wanted to put it to the test, and I put him on it, and we got his blood work done again a couple months later, and his cholesterol had gone down 101 points, and his triglycerides had gone down 360 points. So that was crazy for us. He went off of 9 different medications that he was on. And I mean, it just made me feel like it extended my husband's life. Those are big deals. We just all take for granted now that in our society, most people have high cholesterol and high triglycerides. And so we don't think a whole lot of it, but like those are his heart, and his dad died of a heart condition. So, that was a really important thing for us. There's also ingredients in the Slim that help address inflammation in your body. Okay. So I'm not talking about inflammation like you have swollen joints. Okay. I'm not talking about arthritis, which it does help that kind of inflammation. But just because you don't have swollen knuckles doesn't mean you don't have internal inflammation in your body. And internal inflammation, it contributes to so many health issues. Okay. It's a really big deal, and most people don't think about it. It's really important to address that. Okay. So it has multiple things in it that help with inflammation in your body. So sorry, I have my notes here so I don't forget the things I want to hit on. But I can also tell you, like from my personal experience and from the experience of multiple friends of mine, in addition to all these things, hormones are a huge thing in your body that control how you feel and your sleep and your appetite. And the products just kind of work together to press that reset button on your hormones. Sorry, my sweet husband is coming to visit us and he needs to go. Sorry, I'm kicking him out. He's trying to settle in to eavesdrop on my call, and he is about to get the boot. So, okay, sorry, that was totally a distraction. If it's not my kids, it's my husband. So your blood sugar, like going back to that, your blood sugar greatly affects your hormones. Most people don't know that insulin is a hormone. I got educated on that by a sweet friend of mine who I consider my hormone queen. Insulin is a hormone. Serotonin, it's greatly affected by your blood sugar, and it's affected by gut health. And serotonin affects your mood, it affects your sleep, and it affects your appetite. So most people just think of it as the happy hormone, but it does a lot more than that. I had a hysterectomy at 27. I had 4 C-sections, and that led to a hysterectomy, and it caused all kinds of stuff hormonally that I didn't even recognize as hormonal issues until I started with Plexus. And I just started noticing things changing that I didn't even realize were out of whack in my body. And so, all that stuff I'm not dealing with anymore because I'm helping, address it naturally addressing the root issues first. And so it's helping to balance my sugars and my hormones. It also does have added appetite suppressants in it, which I know a lot of people do want a weight loss as a side effect of this. I understand, because although I started it for my stomach, of course, I'm a woman and I wanted to lose weight. So that was super important to me as well. It wasn't created for weight loss, but many people do have weight loss with it, because when you have added appetite suppressants, I just started noticing I was fuller faster during meals. And I used to be addicted to Dr. Pepper, like serious addiction, 3 Dr. Peppers a day. And I just noticed about 2 to 3 weeks in that I didn't want my Dr. Pepper anymore. And it tasted different to me. My food cravings changed. I used to want chips and popcorn and salty stuff before I went to bed at night. And I started wanting like healthier stuff, applesauce and yogurt and fruit and all these things that I never would have wanted before. So, as far as weight loss goes, you can use that as a tool. Now, granted, if you're still eating large pizzas and all these horrible things, are you going to lose weight like you want? No, it's not a magic pill. It is a tool. If you're craving the healthier things, listen to your body and eat the healthier things. If you have more energy, which my energy has been through the roof on this, if you have more energy, use that and get moving and start exercising. It brought me to the point where I wasn't in pain anymore and I had energy. So that was awesome to be able to get moving. This is just kind of the slim in a nutshell. Hopefully that isn't information overload on that, but I do want to talk, I'm trying to get through this quickly because I don't want to take up too much of y'all's time, but I want to talk about the ProBio 5 now, okay? So the ProBio 5 is our probiotic, and it's just way different from any other probiotic. If I'm talking to somebody and they tell me that they're already on a probiotic, I seriously just tell them, throw it away because you're wasting your money. Before this, I was on a $60 therapeutic grade probiotic from one of my GI doctors, and it did absolutely nothing for me. There's a couple different reasons why ours is different, and I want to cover those really quick. So a normal probiotic, okay, the way that it works is it's putting good bacteria back into your gut, and that's super important, okay? We do need that good bacteria going back into our gut because there's so many things that are killing off that bacteria. But although it's great to do that, they don't address the yeast, okay? Bacteria cannot kill yeast. So first of all, the yeast has a hard shell around it, and that bacteria cannot penetrate. So you need to have a probiotic with an enzyme blend in it, because what enzymes do is they dissolve the shell of that yeast and they make it vulnerable, okay? So this is super important. That's step one to getting rid of it. Then a good yeast kills a bad yeast, okay? So good bacteria kills bad bacteria, good yeast kills bad yeast. We have 5 strains of bacteria in our probiotic, and the 5th one is actually a probiotic yeast. It's a healthy yeast that kills off the bad yeast that's in your gut and helps to actually take care of that issue instead of just flooding your gut with good bacteria. We also have an antifungal in ours. Grapeseed extract is a natural antifungal. So if you go through all this, this struggle and take all these things to where you can get your gut back in check, and then say something happens where you get sick and you have to take an antibiotic. Well, the antibiotic is going to kill off all the bacteria you just worked on putting in there. And if you don't have an antifungal in there to hold that yeast in check, then you're going to be starting over at square one. And you don't want that. So an antifungal is super important in a probiotic. Another big thing, I don't know if you know anything about probiotics, but whenever you see a probiotic and it says it has 10 billion CFUs or 20 billion CFUs, and you think that, the bigger the number, the better the probiotic is, that's actually not the case. Those probiotics, the reason they have so much is because when you take those probiotics and it hits your stomach acid, a huge percentage of those they're going to be killed off. And so they have to overcompensate so that you still have a good amount that makes it to your GI tract. Now, the capsule that we use for ours is actually designed to not even start dissolving until it hits your GI tract. It's the pH of your GI tract that triggers that. So we only have 2 billion CFUs because that's all we need. That's all your body needs. And that 100% of it is going to go where you need it. And really, like, the big difference, I think it's so funny when people tell me they're on a refrigerated probiotic, because the one that my doctor gave me that I spent $60 on, it was a refrigerated probiotic. And The reason probiotics have to be refrigerated is because the strains that are in it are only stable at 33 degrees, okay, which is in a refrigerator. But our bodies are not 33 degrees. So when you take that probiotic, what is going to happen to it? It's going to heat up and it's going to start killing off those strains of bacteria. So we have strains in ours that are stable at higher temperatures so that it doesn't have to be refrigerated, and it's not going to start dying as soon as it gets into your system. So that's, I mean, there's many more things. I could keep going all night on this probiotic, but I won't. It's just really a really good one. And when you have health stuff going on, especially like somebody who has sugar addiction, yeast feeds on sugar. If you crave sugar and carbs convert into sugar, and that yeast is going to make your body crave it. And so if somebody tells me they're a sugar addict, I tell them you better get started on that Probio 5, because you've got to address the yeast. You have to. I can't tell you how many people tell me that the only way to lose weight is through eating less and exercising more. Well, I was a vegan, and I was training for a triathlon sprint, and I was still putting on weight, because it's not eating less and exercising more. There is so much that goes into that. You have your hormones and your metabolism and sugar addiction and gut health and all these other things. And I get so tired of people beating themselves up thinking that they don't have willpower to lose weight and thinking that they're a failure in it, when really there's just other things going on in their body that they need to address first. So this probiotic is so, so important, whether you want to lose weight or you need energy or you have some real health issues going on. It's an incredible probiotic. The BioCleanse is another product, this next one that I want to talk about. It works really, really well with the Probio 5. Now, again, this is another one that I hate the name of. When you hear BioCleanse, most people think of like a cleanse where you spend the month in the bathroom and you've lost 20 pounds because you've gone to the bathroom so much. This is not that kind of cleanse, okay? This is a gentle cleanse. And this is something that goes hand in hand with the probiotic, because that probiotic is working on killing off the yeast in your gut. And yes, your body will naturally start flushing that from your system, but this will help it go so much faster, okay? This has, the BioCleanse has magnesium in it, which magnesium, first, is just a really important nutrient that we all need in our diet. It's responsible for over 400 cellular functions in your body, and most people get about 20% of it from their diet. So it's very important to have. But magnesium also has a colon flush reaction, okay? So it is going to start helping move all that stuff, all the toxins, and, especially people, okay, this may be TMI, but I'm just going to go here. So my IBS, there's a couple different forms, and mine was chronic constipation, where it could be weeks. I mean, literally weeks. I had at-home enema kits under my sink. Okay. That's lots of fun. And that kind of stuff is, not only are you uncomfortable and in pain from that, but that's the kind of thing that leads to colon cancer. And there are so many people that struggle with regularity in that department. And this has been a game changer for me and my whole family, my sisters and my mom. We've all struggled with that kind of stuff. And all of us, we love our Probio and our BioCleanse. So the BioCleanse is just really going to help move things throughout your system. It oxygenates your system, which we think because we breathe oxygen, our body is oxygenated, but that is so not the case, okay? I went to a training not too long ago, and they talked about, one of the ladies there went to go get her blood drawn, and she said that the lady that was drawing her blood could tell that she took something that oxygenated her system, because her blood was bright red, and everybody else's is a dark red when it's supposed to be bright red. So oxygenating your system, this literally delivers down to the cellular level. It's so important, but also yeast cannot grow in a high oxygen environment. And so it's a great way to help prevent that yeast issue from reoccurring. Okay. So it's really important to take that BioCleanse along with the Probio 5. And another thing, I had to look these up because I couldn't remember exactly why bioflavonoids are super important, but they are. Okay. So the BioCleanse has bioflavonoids, a bioflavonoid complex in it. And bioflavonoid helps kind of enhance what vitamin C does in your body, which obviously is a great immune boost and immune support, but it supports blood circulation. It is a very powerful antioxidant, and It helps to treat allergies and viruses and, arthritis and other inflammatory things that go on in your body. So a bioflavonoid complex is really, really important for you, okay? So hopefully I didn't overwhelm you with info on these 3 products, but so this is what we call the triplex. And if you've been talking to an ambassador, you probably heard them mention the triplex. And it's these 3 products right here. No matter what somebody is dealing with, this is where I recommend that they start, because like for me and my stomach stuff, we didn't know what was causing it. My husband and his blood work, which they told him was genetics, like we didn't know what would help that. And so, we started him on the triplex because we wanted to address every single one of those root issues that could be going on in your body that, could affect all these different things in your body. So I did want to talk about one more, which I feel like has kind of been a game changer for people. And this one's pretty quick. I don't have a whole lot of info on this one for you tonight. But our X Factor vitamin, okay? We all think if we take a multivitamin, we're great, that you can just go buy one at the store and you're good to go. And that's what I did for a long time. But I learned that whenever you get a multivitamin from the store, you can actually absorb less than 20% of that multivitamin that you're taking, okay? The reason is, it's the bioavailability, or it's the ease that your body can absorb the nutrients that are in that vitamin in the form that they're put in that vitamin. So the reason that our vitamin is different, there's a couple things, but the main one is we have a really, really high quality aloe vera in our vitamin, okay? And we all know aloe is great for your skin topically, but when you take aloe internally, it is incredible what it does for you. First of all, it makes the nutrients that you're taking from your vitamin 300 to 400% more bioavailable, which means you can absorb it that much easier. And my husband, this vitamin changed our lives, because whenever he had his blood work done and he had all that crazy stuff going wrong with it, one of the big things that they told him was his vitamin D levels were so low that he could not go in the sun or he would get skin cancer, because he was just like completely deficient in vitamin D. And so his doctor put him on 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. And we got his blood work done again a couple months later, and it had like barely moved. Okay. So it's still really, really low. And when we started with Plexus and I knew we had the X Factor and I heard what the aloe could do, I figured we'd give it a shot and just see what it would do for him. So we put him on the X Factor. Now, the crazy thing with this is the X Factor only has 1,000 IUs. So he was on 10,000. It barely helped. We started him on the 1,000 IUs of it. And when we got his blood work done again, his vitamin D levels were perfect. And I know it's because his body could finally absorb it the way that it needed to. Now, there are also a lot of people lately have been looking at the MTHFR mutation that like 60% of people have. And that is basically the way our body processes and absorbs specific nutrients. Folic acid's a huge one. And so our vitamin now, for those who know what it means, is fully methylated. And that means it's great for those who have the MTHFR, make sure I'm saying that right, mutation. So we are actually the only vitamin in the world right now that is fully methylated and has aloe. So it's pretty incredible. It's definitely helped a lot of people, especially people who have thyroid issues. This would be a great thing for them to be on. So those are just the 4 products that I wanted to talk about tonight, because those are the 4 that have really, really been kind of changing the game for people. I did want to just touch a little bit on the different ways that there are to order if this is something that you are thinking of trying. So if you have more questions about this, if I don't cover something, please feel free to either ask or reach out to the person that invited you to this, because I'm sure that they can help answer it for you. But when I decided to join and do this 2.5 years ago, I signed up as a customer. I actually didn't even know that there was a wholesale option. So I ordered as a customer, and the very next day I was talking to a friend of mine, and I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm going to try this stuff. Hopefully it'll help with all the stuff that I have going on. And apparently you can lose weight with it. So that'd be cool. And my friend instantly told me, like all women say, hold the phone, like, where do I order this? Because she wanted to lose weight too. So I had to that day actually go sign up so that she could order from me, because I knew I ordered from my cousin. So I knew there had to be some way for her to order from me. So, I hadn't even started the products yet, and I had a friend who wanted to order. And then the day after that was Thanksgiving, and I told my mom and my sisters, like, hey, I'm going to try that stuff that Heather's doing. Hopefully it could help. I didn't know anything about it, but I just kind of told them, yeah, I saw her post something about IBS, and that was really all I knew. But they decided that they wanted to do it too. And so in 4 days before I had even gotten my products, okay, I didn't know what it tasted like. I didn't know if it would work for me. In 4 days, I had made $300. And I have been a stay-at-home mom for over 10 years. Like I said, I have 4 kiddos. I homeschool. We've been on one income for a decade, and it's not easy. And so $300 in 4 days, that was groceries that weren't going to go on a credit card that month. So that was a big deal to me. And so that kind of opened my eyes to, I have a lot of friends who struggle with stuff, a lot of friends who have health issues. And I had told my cousin, like, I see potential with this because I do know a lot of friends that could benefit from taking it. I don't do home parties. I told her, I said, I'm not going to do home parties. I don't have money to buy inventory. And I never want my friends to feel like a paycheck to me. That was a very important thing. I didn't want Kendall, the crazy Plexus lady, to come and everybody go running. So I told her, I was like, if you can tell me that there's a way to share this without all that craziness of network marketing businesses that people hate, then I would love to look into that. And so I just started reading through the testimonies, and obviously the testimonies made me think of a lot of friends that I knew that had a bunch of stuff going on. And so I reached out to them and I told them, I don't know anything about this. Here's what I've been dealing with. I figure it's worth giving this a shot. Who knows if it's going to help you, but it's helped a lot of people that are struggling with the same thing. So maybe you should give it a shot too. And my first month I had, 22 people join my team and 16 people become my customers. And I paid my mortgage my first month with what I had earned. And this was me like having no desire to really pursue the business. I just wanted my friends to feel better. And so the wholesale route, while you don't have to work the business by any means, you don't have to share. That is the way that I highly recommend that people at least try to take their products, even if, they have no interest in the business, because, well, there's a couple reasons. Okay. First of all, it's just the cheapest way to do it. It's $34.95 to sign up, kind of like a Costco membership. And that's just a once a year thing that you have. There are no monthly sales quotas you have to fill. There's no required purchases that you have to make. There's no inventory. There's none of that. It's just the product's cheaper. Okay. So it really is like a Costco membership. But if you do love it, you naturally talk to your friends about it. I mean, that's just what I did. I just naturally talked about it. And then that $34.95 gives you a website that you can then send people to. If they do want to try it, they can order it from their website and it just ships straight to them. Until Friday, there's a $15 rebate on that $34.95. So it's actually like $20 to do the wholesale route. And then the products are cheaper. Okay. Now, I never want to push anybody toward any decision. You guys have to decide for yourself. But I just wanted to kind of explain why I feel like for me that was the best option. There is the customer route as well. Okay. So there's retail and preferred. Retail, it's the most expensive way to order. It's a one-time purchase. I do not recommend that people order that way just because basically you're spending $5 to $10 more per product. It's just a horrible way to order. If you didn't want to do the wholesale route, preferred is the best option. So preferred, you're automatically getting 10% off of the retail cost. And it just sets up an auto ship to you. I know auto ship kind of scares people. It was something I was a little hesitant about in the beginning, but it's an auto ship that you have complete control over. You don't even have to get your second month if you don't want to. Whenever you become a preferred customer, just like when you're an ambassador, you get your own website and you are able to go in there and change your order to whatever you want. You're allowed to stop it. You can change the date on it. But you just save a lot of money up front if you do the preferred customer route. And after 3 months, you get an additional 10% off as well. So it makes it even cheaper. So those are really like the preferred and the wholesale. those would be the two ways that I would recommend if you did want to give it a shot. Also through Friday, in addition to that $15 rebate on the sign-up fee for the wholesale, there's also a 15% off that the company is doing. I know that when I signed up, I had to put it on a credit card because, again, no money, at-home mom. And anytime there's a discount, that's kind of why I wanted to do this impromptu thing to kind of explain the products, because if people are wanting to try them, I don't want it to be a financial burden on them. I want them to be able to get it as affordable as possible, because I know we're all not made of money, okay? But we all do have health stuff going on, and we want to just be able to find a way to help that. So I do urge you, if you want to try it, give it a shot by Friday when you can still get that discount. And preferred customers have a 60-day money-back guarantee as well. So you can try it for 2 months. And if you decide you don't love it like we do, get your money back, okay? Because, I mean, we love this, and so that's why we do it. But we don't want our friends to waste money on something that they don't love as much as us, okay? We're not here to make money. I do these just because I love to see my friends feel better and have the, those success stories like I had when I started this. So, I mean, this is really it. Sorry, I'm jostling my computer. If you guys have any questions, I haven't checked my little chat thing down here, but if you guys have questions, you're welcome to ask me, or you can ask the person that invited you to this. I know that there's probably a lot that I didn't hit on. So, does anybody have a question? I think there's a little thing where you can either chat or it says raise hand. So you guys want to raise your hand. But if not, that's no big deal. I know it's getting late for all of us. So, well, guys, I'm so glad that you joined us. I'm going to stop the recording real quick because I know a lot of people are wanting